I grew up with an abusive alcoholic father. Besides being an alcoholic, he was a rageaholic. His rage was so severe that his parents in 1930s Kansas City had to put him in an orphanage. Back in those days, they didn't really have services, medication to take care of troubled children. His voice, tempered by about 1 million non-filter cigarettes, still puts the fear of God into me today, 15 years after his death. He could be pretty brutal to my mother, my brothers, and I. He also could do some good things for his kids. For example, in 1972, at age 18, I was arrested for selling marijuana. Actually, it was my best friend Lex who sold the bag to the undercover policeman. We were living in a communal house in suburban Philadelphia, and one of the other residents had a friend who was a junkie who had gotten arrested by the police and set us up so that he could get a lesser charge. The marijuana was in my closet, in a cigar box, along with my bank book, and a ledger describing all the transactions. The only thing I didn't have was a picture of myself and my phone number on each of the bags. Needless to say, I was not the most savvy drug dealer in the world. Lex and I got lawyers who were partners. It was decided that Lex would agree to testify against me in turn for a lesser charge, and my lawyer would figure out a way that the case wouldn't even go to trial. Sounded like a great idea. I was scared shitless. In the interim, I had also enrolled in college in the Midwest, so my lawyer said, I'll let you know when you need to come back and turn yourself in. I went out to school. About a month later, I got a message from my lawyer, come back to Philly. I snuck back into Philly, met with my lawyer, and I said, first thing, do not tell my parents about this at all. We went down to the station. I was handcuffed, I was booked, I was put in a paddy wagon and taken down to the Roundhouse. So for those of you who don't know, the Roundhouse in Philly is literally this big round building where they keep prospective criminals while they're waiting to be arraigned. I was put in this room with a bunch of scary older guys while I waited for my name to be called. About an hour and a half goes by, I'm called into the courtroom. The first thing I see up in the galley is my mother, my father, my older brother, and my aunt. It was kind of like high school graduation. The lawyer whispered, thought it was better if I told your parents. Anyway, the DA reads the charges. Your Honor, this man was caught with an illegal substance, a dangerous substance, with intent to deliver. He needs to be held in jail until his trial, no bail. The judge calmly says, release him on his own recognizance. I thought the DA was going to have a coronary. Your Honor, this man's a criminal. He's a threat to society. He was selling drugs. He's a drug dealer. You need to put him in jail, hold him there until his trial. Again, the judge just said, release him on his own recognizance. I was released to my parents. I remember before we left the courtroom, my father went up and shook the judge's hand. Turned out, he knew a guy who knew a guy who knew the judge, who made a deal with the judge, and I was set free. We all went out for a nice meal at an all-night diner. It was indeed like high school graduation. That was a great thing my father did. Did it make up for the time he threatened to break my hands because I put the grapefruit on the wrong place on the produce stand? Or the time he ripped up my Father's Day present and threw it in my face? Or the time my mother, brothers, and I sat outside on the stoop in front of our house with the neighbors watching, while inside, in a drunken rage, he destroyed every piece of furniture in the house? No, those scars still remain.